What is up, YouTube? So I just put together this free training to essentially show you guys how to lose 10% of your body weight or add a ton of muscle, right? I've been developing this method for over 5 years through trial and error, and I try to come up with something that would allow you to achieve your fitness goals without sacrificing your social life, without having to stop eating your favorite foods, and essentially just having the fastest results as possible, all right? So just quickly, just make sure you're in a comfortable spot and that you're able to take some notes, all right? It's gonna be a pretty long video, but stick around, pause if you have to, and I'll see you in the video. All right, cool. So let's go over this right here, all right, guys? The flexible diet method, right? How can you transform your body in 180 days to lose 10% of your body weight, build muscle without giving up your favorite foods or spending more than 4 hours a week in the gym, okay? It's not impossible. You just got to follow this protocol 100%, okay? All right, so let me just show you a couple of results right here that I had with some of my clients, including myself too, all right? On the left side right here, we have Matheus. He started with me at 288 pounds, okay? He was super busy with work, all right? He's a manager at a store. He came up to me and was like, "Hey man, like I almost have no time. I miss kind of like the shape that I was in high school when I was playing sports and being busy all the time. Is there something that we can do?" Right? But he came up to me and he only had like, I don't know, like 4 days a week to work out. I said, "Hey, listen, no problem. We can definitely do something." So I introduced to him the flexible diet method, especially because since he was so busy, he couldn't just, have like a extremely strict way of eating. Like he didn't want to have to carry like the Tupperwares up and down, well, of his food, right? If he had to be a little bit more flexible, right? Oh, like, hey man, like my wife prepped this for me. Like, can I eat it? Can I make it like fit into my diet? Absolutely, right? So he started at 288 pounds. You can see here on the picture on the left. And he dropped in 180 days all the way down to 243 pounds. You can see the difference right here. Like it's a huge fat loss right here on him, okay? On the other side, we have Carlos, right? It's a complete different transformation, right? Carlos was going to the gym for a little while, actually, probably like a year or so, but he decided that he wanted to add a little bit of more muscle mass, right? Carlos came up to me like, "Hey man, like I want to add a little bit of muscle mass," right? And you can see the pictures here on the left, and he ended up actually becoming a natural competitive bodybuilder, right? His initial goal was just to add a little bit of mass, but then he saw that he was getting so much traction, right? Doing like getting such good results that he was like, "Hey man, can I actually do a competition?" I was like, "Yeah." So we just kept doing exactly that with him. And it was super cool because the way that this works is it's a more of a close one-on-one approach, right? Of tracking the food and things of that nature, which I'm gonna get into. But it allows for a greater flexibility, right? More time with your family and friends, and just overall just happier because you can eat the foods that you like. You don't have to do the boring foods, the chicken, rice, and broccoli. We don't have to do any of that. But yeah, so he started super skinny, having like little to no muscle, and then he competed in less than 1 year total, right? From the pictures on the left right there till the pictures here on the right. He's next to me right here in this one, to being a competitive bodybuilder. Insane transformation, right? Okay. By the way, all the transformations right here are natural, right? Of course, I told you guys about Carlos, but Mateus also didn't have any weight loss medications used or nothing of that nature. No steroids, no nothing. Yeah, here's some more pictures of Carlos. Absolutely crazy how much muscle mass he added in such a little time. And keep in mind, right, this process is essentially, I'm gonna be talking a little bit more about this, but there's essentially two phases, right? The priming phase, which is getting the body ready, right, to add all of that muscle, which you're losing that body fat, right? You're priming your muscles. And then the building phase, which you add a lot of mass, right? So Carlos actually went through both of those phases, right? So actually, he went through the phases 3 times, right? He went through the priming phase, and then he added a bunch of muscle, and then he went through a priming phase again in order to get ready for the bodybuilding contest, right? Really cool. Okay, my own transformation and journey, right? So I developed this method through my own transformation from being embarrassed to simply like take my shirt off next to the people that I loved and like I was close with, even like my family. I would not take my shirt off next to my brother and my mom. Out of all the people that wouldn't judge me, right? I was scared to take my shirt off next to people that I love. And to go from that to having a physique that inspires people is absolutely crazy. And I just, oh, Jesus Christ, there's a fly over here. After 5 years of perfecting the system with my clients, I created the most efficient way to build muscle and lose fat without sacrificing my lifestyle, right? I think that's the most important thing, right? Everybody here, at the end of the day, wants to have a better physique to enjoy their lives. We don't want to lose our lifestyle in order to get a better physique. That's not what we want, right? So I just saw that the traditional route of getting in shape and things of that nature was just like completely bullshit. That you had to cut out all your friendships, you couldn't go out with the people that you liked. It was just unnecessary. Let's call it that, right? It was just unnecessary to getting in a great shape. So the picture here on the left, right, was December 2024, right? I was pretty bulky, right? I had a lot of muscle mass, right? But I had essentially no definition. And I was like, okay, it's time to go into the priming phase, right? Let's get rid of all of that body fat. Let's just keep on muscle and add some lean tissue if possible, right? And 3 months later, and I'm not even joking, right? So that's December 2024. This is February 2025. Look at the complete transformation that happened in such a little time. And the coolest part about this transformation is that people get so mad at me whenever I tell them this is I was eating Nutella pretty much every day from this body right here till this one right here. You can see like all the abs, the obliques right there, the quads are marking up, like absolutely shredded, looking great. And I was just eating my favorite foods every single day. People used to get so mad at me. They wouldn't really understand that, like, how are you doing this? How are you getting shredded? How are you getting in shape? Well, it's just that I've been developing this method for such a long time, right? By the way, this is a natural transformation, right? I'm still natural as of the time that this video is getting made, but that might change in the future. But this is 100% natural transformation right here. Cool. Who's this method for? Okay. It's for anybody, right? If you want to lose from 25 pounds to 45 pounds and even more, right? That's just like a general ballpark to be hit within 180 days, right? While building a frame of muscle, right, that you never kept before, that you never kept, while building a frame of muscle that you're going to keep forever, allowing you to feel confident with your shirt off. That's huge, right? Because I told you guys about my story that I was scared to take off my shirt because I was so skinny, right? I had like no muscle mass whatsoever. And going from super skinny, kind of skinny fat look till being absolutely jacked to the point that people were actually looking at me now in a good way, right? People are looking at me when I go to the beach nowadays. People come up to me as like, hey man, like shout out to you, bro. Like I see you've been putting into work and things of that nature. That's really inspiring, right? It doesn't give me like that kind of boost of an ego, whatever. No, it actually just gives me a boost to keep doing what I do and help men get in better shape, because it changes all of your life, right? Your confidence, the way that you treat people, the way that people see you, they really respect you, right? Like I said, on the beach, just walking, dudes come up to me like, "Hey, man, what do you do? Like, what kind of diet do you do?" And when I tell them I do the flexible diet method that I can eat whatever I want and get in shape, they're like, "Oh, must be your metabolism, right?" Haha. It actually has nothing to do with metabolism at all. I'm going to get into that a little bit later. But if you're tired of feeling lost, right, and you need a simple and proven blueprint that fits into your lifestyle, making your life better, not worse, right? Like I said, nowadays on the internet, just on social media and things of that nature, there's so many kind of get in shape quick schemes, right? Oh, if you drink this type of tea, or if I cut down all the carbs, if I go on a carnivore diet, this and that. All of those methods are like in the short term, they aren't really going to give you that sustainability that you need in order to keep and uh, get the progress that you're looking for, right? Because unless you can do this for a long period of time, right, it's not going to work, right? Unless you can follow through the program the entire 180 days, which trust me, it's going to feel like nothing because you're going to be eating exactly what you like every single day, right? Unless you can do that for the 180 days that it takes for you to change your body, it's not going to work. If you go on one of those keto diets, right, you cut all of your carbs, and within a week, you're like, fuck this, dude. Like, I'm super tired. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. You're going to give up, right? So, this is not what I'm promoting at all. And like I said, we're doing this, right? We're doing this method in order to get a better shape and have a better life. We're not going to change our lifestyle, as a complete, like, cut out the friends, cut out the social events, cut out the family, cut out, like having that burger with, I don't know, your friends or your son, whatever it is, to simply put on a cool physique and destroy the rest of our lives. No, 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 no. We're doing this to actually improve the rest of our lives, right? Being able to be more athletic, play with our kids, play with our friends, whatever it is, have more longevity, look better, feel more confident, and things of that nature, okay? If you tried everything else, right, that's huge, but you still don't have the physique that you want despite dreaming of being muscular with visible abs. Again, if you tried the keto diet, right, and you lost maybe a little bit of weight in the beginning, right, that was all glycogen and water, right? And then afterwards, you keep doing the keto diet and the scale doesn't go down. And sometimes it's not even about the scale going down, but when you look at the mirror, you don't see any fat loss whatsoever. And you keep asking yourself, like, man, like, am I doing the right thing? And then you switch to a new strategy, right? Because you saw a new video on YouTube on how to lose weight or pack on muscle, right? So, I tried the keto diet, so let me try the carnivore diet now because it's kind of similar to the keto diet and it's going to have more protein. Yeah, so I'm going to try that out. And then you start to actually gain weight and you aren't losing the body fat that you wanted, nor are you putting on lean tissue, right? And your workouts went from having energy to just being completely shitty and you have no pump, right? So that's another thing. If you want to enjoy your favorite foods, right? So the flexible diet approach literally means flexible because it will fit into your lifestyle, it will fit into the food choices that you like, and it's going to take you exactly where you want to go, right? If you want to put on muscle or if you want to lose fat or if you want to do both actually at the same time, which I got to get into that in another time. But while still getting in shape and spending quality time with loved ones, right? Nobody wants to just go on a diet and have to cut out all of their social events, be like, oh, hey guys, here's my chicken and broccoli. Don't mind me while you guys are enjoying that like super nice pizza or whatever, or having a beer, right? So that's exactly who this is for, right? We want to enjoy the times with our loved ones. Who's this not for? All right, that's huge. If you have any of these mindsets, just completely don't even watch it, right? If you want to keep trying to get ripped the traditional way and aren't willing to try a new system, right? You're looking for a quick fix and don't want to use a proven system, right? That I showed you guys the befores and afters of me and my clients, right? Proven system that will keep you in shape for life, right? This isn't just another one of those programs that's going to get you from being in shape from 0 1 to the 180. It's actually going to keep your progress. Once you learn this system, it's going to keep your progress going from beyond. And you're never going to want to do any other type of weight loss or a muscle building program because it doesn't make sense. Why would you not eat what you want and be more flexible, have more time with your family, more time with your kids, and just suffer more to get little to no results, right? So it's going to keep you having progress way beyond the 180 days. You're not. This is not for you if you're not ready to allocate at least 4 hours to the gym each week, or if you simply do not believe that you can reach the ultimate version of yourself. Okay, this is huge. Okay, guys, if you can't allocate at least 4 hours a week in the gym, honestly, you got to reevaluate your schedule, right? Or your life. Because if you don't have 4 hours, do you know how easy it is to make up 4 hours in order to have a better future with your family, your wife, your friends, work? Okay. People at work are going to actually start to respect you in so many different ways. Or if you simply don't believe that you can reach the ultimate version of yourself, right? I can only do so much by telling you guys exactly how this method works. But if you just don't believe in yourself, you're not going to follow through with the program. So now that that's said, so the truth about getting ripped, right? You can get ripped without giving up your favorite foods. And I put the the funny, infamous picture of the Nutella here, and I'm showing you guys again the transformation of me on December and me on February, right? When I was posting eating the Nutella, right, people were getting so mad at me. People were commenting on my stories like, "You shouldn't be eating that. You're not going to lose weight." And then I kept on posting the pictures of me having progress every single day. Boom, my workouts were strong. I was feeling good. I was eating the foods that I liked, and people were just getting mad, right? Because they didn't understand the principles of it. And most men aren't capable of doing so because they fundamentally just don't understand how it works, right? And which is fine. That's why I made the video right here. I'm gonna explain to you guys. Eat the proper nutrition, okay? This is by far the most important part, right? We're gonna get into the training in a little bit, but the nutrition is probably the number one key for you to get results in this program, right? Eat the proper nutrition, understanding the macros. Okay, you gotta count your macros. All right, the meal timing and the food selection is crucial for sustainable results. Right. Now, number two, the efficiency of training in the gym, maximizing results in minimal time through proper intensity, form, and exercise selection. Right. So, just a little quick recap: the macros, right? They're super important for you. Unless you're tracking your proteins, fats, and carbs, you're not going to have results, right? And you can have like this old school guys that like you talk to them, it just seems like you're talking to a wall, right? Oh, you don't have to track anything, just eat chicken and rice and you'll be good and it'll be good. And there's dudes that have been trying to eat chicken and rice for, I don't know, 10 years and they don't have like a cool physique. The meal timing is another huge thing that you gotta space out your meals efficiently in order for you to not be hungry, right? Who do you think is hungry more often, right? A guy that eats one meal a day or a guy that eats 4 to 5 meals a day? You know what I mean? That was another key component that took me from the physique here on the left in December to the physique here on the right. I essentially spaced out all of my meals and I had great results by doing that. The food selection, right? Although I'm talking about Nutella, right? I usually keep a 80-20 rule of clean foods and 20% I'll be more flexible about, right? But I can do that every single day. So essentially I'm eating the foods that I actually want to eat every single day. But you got to eat whole grain, not whole grain, but single ingredients, whole foods, right? So anything that you can hunt, anything you can get from the ground or things of that nature, you know what I mean? Efficiency at the training, maximizing results, right? You don't want to be at the gym being one of those guys that spends like, oh, I just spent 3 hours on my leg day. I did a great job, right, guys? Right, guys? No, honestly, if you're training for 3 hours at the gym, your intensity is all the way to the floor. It's so bad, so bad. You're quite literally wasting your time. Might as well stay at home and eat, I don't know, and eat a cheeseburger at that point. They also lack the proper mindset that makes fitness part of their lifestyle rather than a quick fix program. This is huge, right? Not just having the proper training and diet, right? You got to have the right mindset, right? You got to have the right attitude whenever you go into the gym. How many people do you guys see at the gym, right? That are just kind of sitting on the leg press or whatever, the leg extension, just kind of like shaking their feet, looking up and down. Like, no, whenever you go into the gym, go with attitude, right? You're only there for 4 hours a week. So might as well, for those 4 hours a week, go with attitude, right? Whenever you, I just said white, might as well just cut the video at this point. But whenever you go into the gym, go with attitude. Whenever you grab the weight, the bar, Really grab it, squeeze the bar. And I can't like emphasize that enough. How many dudes will go into their set just like super soft? I'm just gonna grab the bar. I'm just gonna go through the motions. Like, no, you got to have true intention if you want to change your body. Okay. Okay, the limiting beliefs that are gonna hold you back, and trust me, everybody had at least one of these whenever they started. Okay, I'm just too busy. I hear this one all the time. I'm just too busy, bro. And whenever you check their hours on their phone, it's like 8, 10 hours of just scrolling on Instagram. Like, cut that out. That's just completely not true. The truth is, it only takes about 4 hours per week in the gym to start to in the gym to start seeing results. And when I tell people that, it's like, no, no way. Like those bodybuilder guys, they go to the gym every day. No, no. Like we said, the three principles, right, is training, nutrition, and recovery. You got to recover, right? Going 4 times a week, 1 hour each session is going to start to get you results, right? That won't work for me. This one just blows my mind when people tell me that won't work for me. Like there's some kind of alien from a different planet, right? Coming onto Earth, be like, my body's different. I have a different DNA than any other human, right? Your body follows the same laws of thermodynamics as everyone else, right? Calories in versus calories out for all of us, regardless of your unique situation, right? Oh, but my metabolism, I have bad genes, right? Only 1 to 5% of people that have severe obesity have a genetic mutation affecting their metabolism. For 95% of obese people, okay, so I'm talking severely obese, right? So just cut that out from the regular population, right? Out of this, out of this population here, only 5% of the severely obese have an actual genetic mutation. And trust me, you're not one of them. Those people are the ones that show up in what's that show called? My 600 Pound Life, right? That's what I'm talking about. If you're watching this video, chances are you're not fucking that person. And if you are, if you apply these metrics right here, I can guarantee you, you're still going to get results, right? So for 95% plus of the people, genetics are not a limiting factor in achieving results. Got that right out of the way? There's no way I can lose weight. I hear this one all the time. Man, it pisses me off. And I showed you guys that I've been eating Nutella and losing weight and getting shredded, muscular. There's no way I can lose weight while eating my favorite foods. That's simply not true, right? In fact, it's easier to stick to a diet whenever you're eating your favorite foods and include in oh fuck, I just butchered that real bad. It's easier to stick to your diet whenever you're eating your favorite foods and you include them in moderation, right? That's the key word, moderation. This is why the flexible diet approach works so well because it keeps you consistent long term instead of forcing you to quit after a few weeks of eating plain chicken and rice. Like I said before, the reason why you're going to get the results is because you're going to be able to go through the 180 days like it's nothing, right? Let me ask you this. Can you become a millionaire in a day? Yeah, maybe you can become a millionaire in a day. But isn't it much easier to just be able to make $10,000 every single day? And if you could just make $10,000 every single day, wouldn't you want to have that skill or be able to prolong that over 180 days or whatever it is to achieve $1 million? So what's going to get you the results is being able to stick through the entire program, the entire process, right? Because the process is going to work out. It's just whether you're able to stick to it or not. That's the truth. And the flexible diet method is the best way to do so because you have a more flexibility to eat the foods that you like, more time to spend with your family, less time in the gym, and you can actually have a greater social life with it. So it's just great. Another limiting belief, this is going to destroy my social life. The opposite is true, right? With the flexible dieting, you can actually go out for dinner with your family or enjoy a night out with your friends without actually stepping out of the program and feeling guilty, right? You don't have to be the person carrying a Tupperware of chicken and broccoli everywhere you go. This approach allows you to balance your real life while still making progress, right? That's huge, right? I'm gonna get into it a little bit more, but essentially, since you have the flexibility of counting your macros and fitting in those foods that you want, you can actually, there's a strategy. I don't even know if I should tell you guys this, but here it goes. There's a strategy that you save up some calories during the day if you know you're going to be going out. And whenever you go out, you just use those calories out and you're good. You're still in the program 100%, following the method, being on top of your diet while eating out with your friends. And that's not even to mention the cheat meals that 90% of people are actually going to get once a week, right? But another common one is I have family to take care of. But here's the thing, right? You can't give up. You can give the best of you to your family if you're run down, right, out of shape or lacking energy. By prioritizing your health, you're not taking time away from them. You're giving them the strongest, healthiest, and most energetic version of yourself. Flexible diet makes this possible by letting you include the foods you love and share the meals with your family while still losing fat and building muscle. That's huge, right? No, but like we said before, and I keep hitting on this key, we're doing this to have a better life and enjoy our lives with the ones we love, right? If that's the goal, right? What would be the logic of us going through an entire process that we would have to stick to that would inhibit that, right? That's not what we want. The flexibility allows us to have those times with our family. Uh, if it worked for everyone, if it worked, everyone would be doing it. This one is so stupid, right? The only thing I can think of, actually pulled up right here, is that little video of the ant that the guy sees an ant on a piece of paper and he draws a line around the ant and the ant thinks it's stuck, so it keeps hitting the circle, like, and like, oh man, I can't cross this, I can't cross that. And accidentally the guy gets a little bit too close to the ant. There's a fly over here. Get out. Just because I mentioned insects, the fly comes by. But the guy ends up drawing a line too close to the ant and accidentally it crosses the line. After the ant realizes, right, that that was all imaginary in their heads, it never gets stuck again. The guy tries again to draw out circles and circles and circles around the ant and he can't trap it again. The same thing is going to happen to anybody that tries a flexible diet method because they're going to see, oh my God, all those limiting beliefs that I had about being able to eat foods that I actually enjoy every single day in moderation, right? And getting in shape and having the energy, looking great and all that without all of that stupidity that people preach by, that was all a lie. And nobody's ever, after they try the flexible diet method, going to go back to a traditional method that's just essentially a religious cult at that point. Okay, the flexible diet overview. This method is broken down into two essential phases, okay? Each with three key components, all right? So the priming phase is going to be from the first 3 to 4 months, okay? A leaning out phase with higher rep ranges and volume and lower food intake. This is huge, okay? So it takes roughly those 3 months because people, especially people that haven't trained before, just got into the gym for very little, very recently got into the gym, they need to get their body ready, right? They don't want to get injured because if they get injured, they can't work and things of that nature, right? So what I do is I put the rep ranges higher because it's much safer for you to work with higher rep ranges than to lower rep ranges, because when you get the rep ranges higher, the weight that you're working with actually goes down, right? So it's much safer. So instead of doing bench press with, I don't know, 200 pounds, you're going to be doing it with 100 pounds and you're still going to get great results from that, okay? And then from after that phase, I'm going to get into it a little bit more. There's the building phase that is going to take roughly 2 to 3 months, give or take, depending on the individual, might be a little bit longer, right? So it's a lean bulk phase with lower rep ranges and a higher, lower volume and a higher food intake, all right? So those two phases are actually kind of the opposite of each other, but they're necessary to have both of them in order for them to work. So It's called the priming phase because it prepares your body, right, for the bulking phase or the building phase, right? It's not really a bulk. You're not going to get fat from it or whatever. The whole point of this is to clean your body, right, during the priming phase, take away all of that fat tissue, right? So if you're skinny fat, take away all of the fat, and then your body is going to be essentially calling out, be like, hey man, we have no more fat, but we still need energy here. Give us a little bit of food and let us train a little bit harder so that we can build muscle, right? And then we're going to start adding a little bit more food, lean foods, right? So like clean foods, slightly calorie surplus, and then your training, right, intensity is going to go through the roof because now we lowered the rep ranges and you're working with much heavier weight. Your body is instantly going to understand, be like, we got to add muscle because this dude right here is super strong and we need muscle, bro. We just give me muscle, right? So it has essentially three pillars, right? The training, the nutrition, and the recovery, right? If I had to pick one to be the most important, would be nutrition, but none of those pillars work without each other. All right. If you got the training right, but not the nutrition or recovery, it's not going to work. If you got the nutrition right, but you don't have the training nor the recovery, it's not going to work. If you got the recovery right, if you're sleeping lots of hours, but you're not training nor you're eating on your diet, you're going to end up like a fat ass, right? So you don't want that. All right. Component number one, training. Common mistakes that people do. And you see these guys all the time. And matter of fact, if you go to the gym, uh, look into this and maybe share this video with those people that are in the gym so that they can learn how to better improve, right? So mistake number one, they train with no effort slash intensity. That's huge, right? Like I said in the beginning, you look at those guys at the gym and they're just kind of like shaking their feet at the leg extension and they're not even like making a face midway through their set, right? No noise. If you train at Planet Fitness, which it's all right if you know how to train, it's okay. But honestly, if you can find another gym, find another gym. Already investing enough time, energy, and money into training and nutrition. So might as well get a better gym. Mistake number two: they actually have shitty form. How many dudes, right? Do you see that they're on the bench press and they're like, I just got a bench PR, and then like 2 weeks later they're like injured and they're out of the gym for like 3 months, right? And they can't make any progress from that. Mistake number three: incorrect exercise selection, right? This is huge, right? Especially for newer guys at the gym. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going in there and I'm training arms. They tell me that they're training arms on a back exercise, right? Like, what's the point of that? Like, just the form is out. They picked the wrong exercise. You got to be super specific. Whenever I have my clients, right, the first thing I do, I make a full evaluation of their physiques, and I think, okay, this guy needs a little bit of shoulders, back, chest. Okay, cool. We're gonna set the exercises in X, Y, and Z order in order for him to grow this first, and that. Boom, boom, boom. This exercise is gonna grow that. That exercise is gonna grow that one. Okay, cool, perfect. And even the order of the exercises that you do matter. Okay, you got to start with the heavier compound moves and then you can move on to more isolation work. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but the key to an effective training is the intensity. Like I said, what is intensity, right? For those of you guys wondering, it's working with heavier weights. All right, that's how you can increase the intensity, lowering your rest period. Okay, so if you're resting for, I don't know, 5 minutes in between sets, just looking at your phone, dude, you're wasting time at the gym. Put that phone away, rest a minute, and do your set. Optimal reps, right? That's huge. It varies by phase. Like I said, the priming phase has to be more towards a metabolic kind of, you know, safer approach for you to not get hurt from 12 to 25 reps. And then the 6 to 10 range are going to be more for the building phase, but also your reps, right? The more reps you're able to add over time, right? And then eventually you're going to make the weights go heavier, the more intense your workout's getting. That's how you can see if you're having progress at the gym. If by session you can either increase your reps or the weights that you're doing or decrease the time, you're having progress, all right? More tension, all right? My apologies. More tension on the muscle. You got to focus to have that mind muscle connection and really feel that muscle squeeze. It doesn't matter if you're in the gym and you're simply just not like feeling the muscle that you're supposed to feel or having no tension there, or if you're simply just kind of pushing the weight up and down and not focusing on the muscle, you're just wasting your time, right? And that takes away the intensity and the time under tension of your workouts. All right, proper form and exercise selection, all right? Okay, form guidelines. Like I said, you can't go into the gym just kind of just not caring about how you're going to execute the exercise. You got to be 100% focused, right? Get a grip, right? Squeeze the handles firmly to set up a strong lift. Push hard, apply maximum force through the feet and the leg movements. Maintain form. Fight the urge to break when fatigue sets in. And then train to failure. Push until you can no longer add any proper rep. All right, this is huge. Especially on compound moves that you're gonna do like squats, bench, and deadlift, you gotta be 100% locked in, and you really just gotta squeeze, feel the bar, shake the rack, do whatever you have to, get in that mind space, and then you go in, have true intention behind your actions, right? Go in there and really squeeze. It's like they say that for if you're gonna punch someone, you're trying to punch the guy behind him. Don't just stop at that. Try to go beyond it, right? If you're bench pressing, try to bench press the bar all the way to the ceiling, right? That's a mindset you guys gotta have in order to keep proper form. Okay. The workout structure. This is gonna change for everyone depending on their goals. But let's just suppose, right? Somebody has no deficiencies and they simply just want to work out 4 times a week. That's all they can do. Uh, this is what I usually would build for them. Day one would be upper A push focus, meaning it would be everything upper body, right? So your back, your chest, your shoulders, your arms, abs, right? And it would be more focused on the muscles that push, so your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps. Okay. Day two would be lower A, but it would be more focused towards your quads. All right. So your legs has different muscle groups, has your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads, your calves, right? Things of that nature. But we would focus a little bit more on quads for day two. Okay. So lower A, quad focus. Day three, you would rest, right? We talked about the pillar, right? It's really important. You need your training, your nutrition, and your rest. Apologies. Day four, it would be upper B. It's going to be a pull focus, meaning it would be more focused on your lats and your shoulders. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Sorry. All right. Sorry about that. Day five, it would be lower B. Oh, Jesus Christ. Let me get some water here. This is another huge part about your progress, right? Getting the proper hydration. Okay. It would be upper B. It's going to be a pull focus. So back and biceps, right? Day five would be a lower B, hamstrings, glutes, and calves, okay? And then day 6 and 7 would be a rest day. This is huge. Keep your rest, and you're going to see great results. You can't really do, if you work out, let's say 6 days in a row and you don't even rest, you might be able to show up to the gym, but what you're going to see if you start to add in rest days is that your intensity is going to be going up because you'll be more rested, right? Your muscles is going to be able to recover more. So think about it like this. If you work out every single day, your body's going to understand. In order for that guy to go every single day, his muscles have to perform only at 50% of their true capacity, right? In order to sustain that frequency, right? But that's not what you want. You want your muscles to, you want to activate your muscles 100% and then rest. Let it rest till 0% again and then 100. Attack, recover, attack, recover. So that's why the rest period is so important in the training frequency, okay? Component number two, nutrition. Why most diets fail. Extreme approaches, extreme fastings. You see that all the time, right? Dudes be like, I went on a 24-hour fast or a 12-hour fast. I can already feel the results. Dudes look the same the next day. Cutting carbs, right? Guys will be like, I'm cutting carbs, already lost 10 pounds in 2 days. Oh, yeah, I'm so skinny. All of that weight was all water weight. And what I mean by that is whenever you eat carbs, it gets translated into glycogen, right? Glycogen is a molecule that gets stored into your muscle. And for every glycogen molecule, it holds two water molecules. So whenever you take that glycogen molecule and you throw it out the window, you lose the water molecules with it, right? So that guy that lost 10 pounds in 2 days, it was all just the glycogen leaving his body, right? It wasn't actually the fat tissue. Okay, cutting carbs completely out, or restrictive diets like the carnivore or the vegan diets without proper planning. That's another huge thing. Guys would be like, "Oh no, our ancestors, they only ate, fucking veggies. So, we actually have our appendix, which the scientists believe there was to process vegetables back then." That all might be true, okay? But the point being, you don't have to stop eating your nice steak, okay, at your weekends and hanging out with your boys and having your steak and watching the UFC, whatever you like to watch or sports, right? In order to lose the weight. Simply not the right approach. All right. Unsustainable methods, right? Even if they produce short-term results, most water weight, right? Like I said, people gain mostly water weight. People gain the fat back and often end up worse than before. How many guys you see that they go on this crazy diet journey, right? And just simply can't sustain it for a long time. And then they come back and they're like, holy shit, this dude just got way fatter, right, than before. What happened? Well, they just starved themselves for so long. They're like, screw this. I'm really craving the cookies now. And bro eats a whole box of cookies, right? By the way, that's my favorite cheat meal is cookies. Don't send crumble cookies to my address, please. Please do. Anyways, they have no structure, aimlessly eating with no regard for the macronutrients, meal timing, or the food quality, right? Even if you're eating a healthy diet, chicken, steak, potatoes, pasta. Yes, I did say pasta. Things of that nature, right? They have no structure, right? It's like saying, I don't know. You got to be able to track all your food down in order to understand what you're doing. Kind of like how can I explain this? If I say, "Oh, I made a lot of money this weekend," right? Or actually, I spent a lot of money, right? So I spent a bunch of calories, right? Oh, how much you do? Oh, I don't know. I have no clue. How can you possibly control the variables, right? How can you control the results if you can't control the variables, right? So unless you're able to control the amount of food that you put in your mouth and you know what that amount is, you won't have results if you can't do that. All right. This flexible diet method focuses on sustainable nutrition and that fits in your lifestyle. That's all I'm preaching here is control the variables and be flexible with it and enjoy your life, right? There's no secret to this. It's just that people just refuse to believe. I literally just showed you guys results of Carlos, right? From being super skinny to being super muscular and jacked and being on a bodybuilding stage with six pack abs, right? And then Matheus, super busy guy, manager, going from 288, yeah, 288 to like 243 in 180 days. Which, by the way, he did all of that stuff while he was kind of winging his training. I told him to go 4 times a week, and even some days because of work, right, he couldn't make it, and he kind of just stuck to the diet. The diet is the most important part out of this program, if anything, right? But you also need the training for the muscle part of things. All right, the three pillars of an effective nutrition. Okay, so let's start with the meal selection, right? No, let's do macros. So tracking your protein, carbs, and fats rather than just calories, okay? This is huge, right? People are saying, oh, just like count your calories, right? But you got to understand that not only it's about the calories, right? I prefer to only track the macros. I don't really care about the calories, although they're all connected and whatever. But I go by the macros because I'm looking at the function of the food. So the proteins is to recover and repair the muscle tissue, okay, to build more muscle. The carbs is so if you have enough carbs, you can have a solid workout. And the fats, I view it more as, hormones, long-term energy, and things of that nature for you to be healthy, right? Just the essentials, right? Proteins and fats, right? Essential for you. The carbs aren't actually essential, but they're essential for you to have a good workout, okay? An example of that would be this is actually Carlos macros, right? That I did when he was going into the priming phase. 200 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, and 75 grams of fat. Now, macros are going to be individual for everyone. It's going to change, right? Because everybody has different heights, different body weights, meaning that your body requires different types, different amounts of energy in order to maintain itself, right? In different routines, which is huge, right? A guy that's sitting down all day is going to need way less energy than a guy working in construction, 8 to 10 hours a day just standing and carrying shit around. So don't even try to copy the macros because it's not a copy and paste, right? This is a fully customizable, individualized method, right? All right. The second pillar to effective nutrition is actually meal selection, and I like to do the 80-20 rule. What's the 80-20 rule? I think I mentioned to you guys this a little bit before, but let's say you have 5 meals during the day. Meal one, your breakfast, maybe a shake. Lunch, maybe another shake, and then your dinner, right? Cool. So for the first 4 meals, what I like to do with my clients, be like, yeah, try to keep those clean. And when night comes around, and you know that people have the most cravings, that's when you would be a little bit more flexible, right? So if we're looking at five, each of them being 20%, each meal being 20% of your total day selection, right? Make the fifth one a little bit more flexible, and you can, you know what? Like I saved up a little bit of calories. Let me kind of throw in that little sweet treat that I kind of like, but is it has to do. Even though that you're throwing in this sweet treat, it's still going to be under your daily macros. You know what I mean? So as long as the your macros at the end of the day fit what your coach sent you, you're going to be 100% fine, okay? There's no stepping out. So the 80-20 rule, 80% whole foods, 20% flexible choices that fit within your macros. Each meal contains proteins, carbs, and fats. That's another huge thing, okay? I never like to just let my clients have a meal with just carbs and fats, because if that happens, those foods tend to be what? Highly industrialized foods, like I don't know, like you're looking at fries, right? And things of that nature. So throw in a little bit of protein. Protein is huge to keep you satiated, okay? So that's why I like to do the proper split so you feel full, you feel good, energized, and you aren't craving for anything. Meal timing, right? That's another huge thing. Unless you having a good structure, you're gonna end up having more cravings, right? So the less you split your meals, the more hunger you're gonna have. Essentially, what I like to do, I like to split it into as many meals as my client allows me to. So let's suppose you can only do 5 meals. Here's how I would split them down. Write this down. This is game right here. Meal number one, I would do it solid, maybe at 6 a.m. 3 hours from that, right? Because I usually do the 3 hour window to keep you full so you don't get those cravings. So 3 hours from that, so 9 o'clock, I would throw in a shake, right? Because you're probably at work or something like that. You don't really have time to eat your meal. So throw in a little protein shake, keep you full. Again, proteins keep you full. Proteins and fibers keep you full. Then around noon would be what? Your lunch. Then you go back to that solid meal, right? Have your lunch. 3 hours from that, you might be leaving work, having a little break. Cool. What you do? Have another protein shake or maybe a bar or some yogurt, Some, dude, Oikos yogurt, great for proteins, great for macros, right? Cool. Throw in that. And then Wait for dinner time comes around 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever it is. Have your last meal, solid meal, have your nice dinner, boom, go to bed. So you see how it goes. Whenever you split your entire day evenly, you don't feel hungry because you know, oh man, like I'm not gonna eat that snack. I'm not gonna throw away my entire diet. I'm not gonna have that cheat meal because in an hour I'm gonna have my snack. So I'm chilling, right? And that snack can be something flexible, right? So the craving is gone, hunger is gone. You good. All right. So we talked about strategic cheat meals, right? Dude, this burger, this double cheeseburger is looking real good. I gotta check out my macros and my calories to see if I can fit that in. It's the end of the night. Probably not. But contrary to proper belief, planned cheat meals or refeed days, right, can actually boost your progress when done properly. So cheat meals are a little bit different than refeed days, right? So cheat meals are uh, essentially meals that your coach will pick a day. He will calculate your total weekly calorie intake, and he will throw in a meal that say like, hey, you're free to eat whatever you want within this amount. A refeed is a little bit different. He simply boosts your calories. That's what I like to do with my clients, especially the ones getting super lean. I'll be like, hey man, just like for today, I'm gonna bump up your calories, bump up your carbs, right, to give you a little bit of a boost in your metabolism. So why, like, how can this actually help my progress, right? Because I thought that if I eat a burger, it's gonna make me gain fat and I'm gonna feel bad and whatever. That's the wrong mindset to have, because here's what happens when you have a cheat meal. It helps you break through those weight loss plateaus. So what happens is whenever you're losing weight, right? Let's think about this going down. Your body essentially realizes, oh man, if we keep losing weight, we're eventually gonna die. So I'm gonna start cutting out essential functions of this guy. So you don't even realize this, but maybe you sleep a little bit less, or maybe you don't want to walk upstairs or something like that. So whenever you throw in that cheat meal, you trick your body into thinking like, oh, your body thinks like this. Oh, this guy just ate. So if he ate this right now, we can actually go back to boosting our metabolism and do those things that we actually ended up cutting out because he's gonna have another one of these. Lies, we tricked it, right? So that's how we kind of trick your metabolism into breaking through those plateaus, right? Which is great. Uh, Again, the boost of metabolism. This is another huge thing. Improve psychological and adherence to the diet, right? How hard, if you have a cheat meal. That's what I do with my clients, right? Once a week, give them a cheat meal. Aside from every single day being flexible, give them a cheat meal once a week, right? It just makes it psychologically so much easier for you to follow through your diet and your plan. Be like, okay, I'm gonna work extra hard this week. I'm gonna work out extra hard because I want to earn that burger, whatever it is, or that pizza, or the steaks and maybe a beer or two with my boys, you know. Third thing, right, for cheat meals as a strategic move is allow for social flexibility without guilt, right? Like I said, it's actually beneficial for most people to have a cheat meal. So why not just enjoy that cheat meal with my friends, and I won't feel any guilt because it's gonna help my progress actually. So I did this for Matheus, right? Matheus needed a cheat meal in order to adhere a little bit better to the diet. So I was like, okay, what's the best day? He was like, man, you know what? We do this thing on Friday nights, at church. That I know they bring him some pizzas and things like that. I said, perfect, right? I was coaching his wife at the time too. I was like, okay, perfect. So I'm gonna put both of you guys' cheat meals together on the same day, on the same Friday night, and that way you guys can actually have that little social aspect that you don't feel guilty for enjoying those foods, right? Because you're in the plan. One strategic cheat meal per week can improve extra motivation during a week, like I said, knowing that there's something to look forward to if you work hard. Again, you got to work hard to have that cheat meal, going to the gym with that attitude. Boom, earn what you eat, man. Our ancestors would like literally hunt down like lions and fight like the mammoths and things of that nature, and you can't just work a little bit hard on the gym 4 times a week, man. Come on, man, tighten up. All right, component number three, recovery. All right, this is huge. Sleep is the most overlooked aspect of fitness. All right, when nutrition and training are on point, progress but progress stalls. Sleep quality is often the bottleneck. All right, talking about bottleneck. Okay, this is huge, right? So if you have two of your pillars kind of right, but the third one isn't there, and you're not having the results, it's probably because you're not sleeping enough, right? Sleep is so huge for you because there's even a study. You can watch like the Joe Rogan podcast about this. He made an episode with one of the guys. I might even leave it in a link in the description. But the performance, right, of people that sleep like 4 to 5 hours a night, 4 to 6 hours a night, is completely different than from people that eat like they sleep 8 to 9 hours. Completely different, right? They even did a study in school that whenever there's the daylight saving thing, whenever you gain an hour of sleep, kids' grades go up. Whenever they lose an hour, kids' grades go down, and the only changing factor is how much sleep that they get. I remember being in school, and just for the fact that I was super on point with my sleep because of my fitness, right? Just because of the fact that I slept well, I barely had to do any studying at all because I would just be so present in class, right? And pay attention to what the teacher said, and everybody else just be dying, like head down, whatnot. And they wouldn't pay attention or learn anything, right? Their brain just wasn't there, right? Because they needed sleep. So, in order to improve sleep, here's what I usually tell my clients, right? Carlos had a little bit of that problem. So, here's what I told him to do. So, no large meals before bed, right? So, especially in the building phase, that you're eating a little bit more calories, you don't want to kind of push all your calories towards the nighttime right before you go to bed, and then just kind of lay in bed like with your stomach. You can barely breathe. Takes you like 30 minutes just for you to digest the food, and then you be able to turn on your side and you still feel uncomfortable and you're breathing heavy. You don't want any of that, right? So what I usually do is I stop eating 1 to 2 hours before I go to bed, just to improve the digestion and sleep quality, right? That being said, I usually like to throw in a little bit of carbs at the nighttime, just for sleep quality, so you don't crave anything. My apologies. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is huge, right? Reduce blue light exposure, right? So no phones, dude. Don't be scrolling on your phone before bed. Like 30, like usually 30 minutes to an hour before, I cut out my phone completely. And if you like to read books, this is like the time for you to read books, right? Pick up your book before bed because that does two things, right? Cuts out the light, but it also slows you down. The speed that you're consuming content on the internet is not the speed that life happens, right? So your brain is like, okay, content, video, video, video. But then when you read a book, you gotta slow it down, be able to catch the lines, boom, boom, boom. So that's huge. Third thing to optimize sleep is your room temperature, right? If your room is too hot, you're gonna be sweating up and down. You're gonna be kicking your blankets in the middle of in the middle of night. Keep the room temperature, I don't know, between 66 to 68 or whatever you kind of feel as cool. Okay, that's huge for you to have some quality sleep. Okay, so let's go over this. Like I said before, there's two phases, right? So the priming phase is going to be the first from day one roughly till day 90. All right. Here's how the training goes. All right. Higher volume of sets. Okay. So 3 to 5 sets per exercise on average. This is going to change for everyone, but on average, higher reps is going to be from 12 to 25. The reason for having higher reps is because I want to keep you guys moving, okay? The more you move, the more energy you spend for the longer period of time in the gym, the better, right? You're not there for 6 hours, whatever, a day, 3 hours a day, 6 times, 7 times a week. No, you're only there for four. So that's how I get your energy expenditure to go up, right? The more reps, and it's a little bit safer. So that's when the lower weights also come into play. Working with lower weights is much safer for somebody just getting back into, even if you went to the gym, right? You stopped for 3 months, a year, a month, whatever it is, even 2 weeks. When you're coming back, you can't go back to just full throttle. You're going to get hurt. So That's why the 90 days with lower weights, right? Just kind of priming your joints, getting your body back in the groove, you know? Uh, what else? Focus on the form. That's huge, right? Whenever you work with lower weights, right, you can actually master your form because as you add weights into, I don't know, if you're doing a bench, what do you think is easier to bench with proper form? 100 pounds or 200 pounds? Obviously, 100, right? That's the time to do so, right? Master your form. Really like slow and controlled. Cool. Added steady state cardio. That's another huge thing. I don't need you guys running full speed in order to burn that body fat. Actually, rather you guys just go a little bit slow, just burn some more calories. Cool, and recover. The nutrition strategy, right? I said I put these macros here, but that was just an example for Carlos, right? So let's suppose, right, in this phase right here, Carlos starts with 200 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, and 75 grams of fat. All right. Gradually over time, I'm going to reduce those calories, right? Because again, the body starts to plateau, right? We need to work around that plateau. So what do? I lower it a little bit more, a little bit more. But you're going to see it's not a huge change. And it will end up getting adjusted all the way down to 200 grams of protein, 150 grams of carbs, and 65 grams of fat. Now, you notice like I pretty much kept the protein the same because I'm trying to keep that muscle mass on you or even add a little bit of muscle mass during the priming phase. The only time it happens for you to build muscle and lose fat at the same time is either you just started lifting, you just got back into lifting. Let's say you stopped lifting, you used to be a college guy, whatever. Oh man, I used to play football in college, whatever. Cool, we got back into lifting. You're going to lose fat and build muscle at the same time, or you're on steroids. Cool. That's another option too. Let's not get that out of the table. The goal, all right, create a sponge like state by becoming as lean as possible while maintaining muscle mass. So hold on, gotta drink some water here. Stay hydrated, brah. All right. So what happens is as you get rid of your body fat, right? Your body starts to rely a little bit more on your glycogen, right? And as you're gonna spend more glycogen because you're eating less carbs over time, your insulin sensitivity goes up and your body becomes more essentially it's kind of saying like I got rid of all the fat. Your body's claiming like, dude, we have no more energy stores right here. Give us food, right? And when you give the food and you change the strategy over to, training heavy, having more protein, having more carbs, all of that energy is going to go straight into your workout and you're going to pretty much convert nothing of that into body fat. Very little. Cool. Let's see. All right, cool. The building phase. The building phase is going to be from day 90 around to day 180. That's going to be the training approach, right? We're going to lower the volume of sets, right? Since we're going to be working with heavier weights, again, recovery is also part of that pillar, right? So higher the weight, we do a little bit less of the sets, right? Because we already worked out hard enough. So we're going to work between 1 to 3 sets. Lower rep ranges, we're going to do 6 to 10 reps, maybe even lower than 6. Every now and then we might touch 4 or so, probably not lower than that, with higher weight. Okay, so heavier weight. We're going to focus on progressive overload. Progressive overload is essentially saying that in every workout, in a way or another, whether it's through lowering the rest time, adding another rep, or adding more weight, we're trying to go heavier every single time or harder every single time, okay? And you're going to be trying to do progressive overload in the priming phase too, but we're going to really emphasize the actual weight part of this, increasing the weight every single session during the building phase, because you're going to have the nutrition to back it up. Now, let's go over into nutrition, all right? Let's suppose, like Carlos, right? He just finished the priming phase. Now he's going into the building phase, right? He's going to start his macros at 200 grams of protein, and he's going to 200 grams of protein, 150 grams of carbs, 65 grams of fat, and we're going to gradually increase this, right? It's not going to be one big jump. We're going to gradually increase this all the way to 200 grams of protein, Probably going to up the protein too, if I'm being honest. But the carbs are going to go to 50 to maybe even 600 grams of carbs, right? And the fats are going to go up slightly, right? You might notice, oh, why aren't you lowering, why aren't you upping the fat, or like, why aren't you manipulating the fat? Well, the only thing that I'm really looking for here is essentially the carbs, right? Because the carbs is what determines how much energy you have in your workouts. If you have 600 grams of carbs in you and you work out really hard, your muscles are going to be asking for those carbs, and you have that post workout, it's going to go straight into your muscle essentially. It's much harder to convert carbs into fat than fat macronutrient into actual fat tissue, okay? So that's so much easier to do. Fat to fat, so much easier. Kind of makes sense, right? Okay. The science behind the method. The flexible diet method works by strategically tricking your body through metabolic manipulations, right? Priming the body. The priming phase creates a hypersensitive sponge-like state throughout a controlled depletion. All right, strategic rebound, okay? When transitioning to the building phase, when mild adjustments in the macros in training produce dramatic results. That's what I was telling you guys about. When we start to introduce those calories back into your diet, right? And we change your training around, boom, dramatic results. You're really, really gonna start to see your body change right there, adding like tons of muscle, right? Sustainable growth. The body efficiently, builds muscle without excess fat gain due to the prime metabolic state. So your body understood, like, man, we can get rid of fat. Like, we don't really need that anymore. But guess what? We kind of really need this energy for this workout. So give me those carbs, essentially. This method creates lasting results because it works with your body's natural process rather than against them. All right. That's exactly how it works. Is essentially we're setting you up, getting rid of your fat and priming your body for you to be able to add all of that muscle that you want. Okay, proven results. All right, guys. So once again, Matheus here, from 280 pounds to 243 pounds in 180 days. Carlos here, he was 136 pounds, and we turned him into a competitive bodybuilder in less than a year. You don't see that a lot. You're gonna see how many guys at your gym that have never competed, don't even have the frame to compete, and they've been working out for how long? Oh man, I've been bulking for 5 years. But I can't really build my biceps, right? But with this approach, we do it super calculated, super precisely, right? And you can actually see my transformation here. Just a 3-month transformation from December to February. This picture was taken around February. You can see my abs was like absolutely sliced. My back was getting jacked. Yeah, Bernardo from bulky to, damn, I called myself bulky, to shredded in just 3 months. Okay, so are you ready to transform your body, right? So what I'm here to offer you guys is guaranteed results, right? If you don't lose at least 10% of your body weight within 180 days following this method without deviations, right? You don't pay at all. There would be no point of you guys like paying for a program that you get no results. So if you don't lose 10% of your body weight, I'll give you your money back, right? Expert guidance, right? Skip your trial and error, get a customized plan based on your specific goals and body type. That's huge, right? Just having a customized plan. It's not a cookie cutter thing. Like I said, it doesn't even matter if you copy those macros because they're not going to be ideal for you. Usually it takes about a week or two for me to find the ideal baseline for you. And then from there, it's just a skyrocket towards progress. The sustainable lifestyle, right? You're going to learn how to implement the system way beyond the 180 days, right? So it's going to be a lifestyle that you're going to get. And like I said, you're never going to go back to doing any of those stupid diets because you just can't sustain it, right? Learn how to maintain your results forever while still enjoying your favorite foods and social life. Yeah, so the try and error part, let me just quickly go back to that, right? I spent 5 years trying to develop this method, right? I got injured many times during training with improper training. I tried many diets, I tried many food types, I tried many supplements, I tried it all. The reason why you need the guidance, right? In essentially what I'm doing to you, I'm saving you all of that time. You don't want to spend 5 years in order to get your body, right? If you can just do it in 180 days. So if you're ready, just book a call and I'll walk you through exactly how the flexible diet method works. And honestly, if it's not for you, the worst that's going to happen, you're going to be exactly where you are, and I'll send you in the right direction. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'm going to leave the link down below for you guys to book that call and change your body, all right? Be bold, be brave, be elite. All right, Coach Bernardo is out. I hope you guys found this video to be helpful. I just thought I'd show you step by step on how I take an approach to helping my clients achieve their fitness goals. If you're ready to make a change and get to your fitness goals and never go back to your old lifestyle, make sure you click the link down in the description and book yourself a call. We'll see if you're a good fit. And then once again, if in 180 days you don't lose 10% of your body weight, I will continue to work for free with you until you do so. So it's 100% guarantee that you're going to reach your fitness goals. And if you're not a good fit for the team, I'll send you in the right direction, all right? So just make sure you check out the link in the description and share this with a friend that's trying to lose weight, it's been dabbling for a long time to reach their fitness goals, all right? Thank you so much. Coach Bernardo is out.